Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to World of Tanks. Here with the AT-15A for a garage review. As you can see, I do not have a lot of Tier 7 tank destroyers. A lot of Tier 7 anything. I have got a bunch of Tier 6s, but most of them are premium, apart from the Firefly gun carrier and Churchill 7. Of course, I do have a lot of Tier 6s, the Skoda T40. Gonna actually start playing some games with that once I actually have the gun rammer, because gun rammer is love. Gun rammer is life. Once I get my crew up to 100%, then I'll do the heavy tank number 6 because Japanese Tiger. Type 64, nothing stopping me, but light tank. Cromwell B, done that. Box tank, is box tank, and TOG is well, TOG. But the focus of this video is, of course, the AT-15A and the garage review of this. So, British Tier 7 premium tank destroyer, 1050 HP, which is a decent amount of hit points. Not as much as the AT-7, but the British do have the highest amount of hit points of all of the Tier 7s. At least all the Tier 7 tank destroyers, apart from the Challenger, which only has 840 for some reason. But oh well. So let's look at other Tier 7 TDs and compare the health, because I don't actually have to worry about upgraded turrets and things. So the AMX AC-46 has got 820 hit points. The T-25A has got 800, but I'm sure it has a turret upgrade. But I'm pretty sure it will still only be up to like 840 or something. 840 for the T-25AT. As for Mother Russia, the motherland, you have got the SU-152 with 870, the SU-100M1 with 830, and for Deutschland, you have got the Stuart Emil with 850 and the Jagdpanther with 850. So the British definitely do have the large amount of HP, and now I understand why the Challenger has only got 840. That's the Charioteer. That has that has 1050, and that's a Tier 8 tank destroyer. So yeah, this is a Tier 7 tank destroyer with basically Tier 8 tank destroyer health, and this is probably like Tier 9 tank destroyer health or something, because AT-7, even though I'm not actually enjoying the AT-7 right now, barely played anything in it, only have the first 17-pounder, which isn't even a 17-pounder, it's a 77/76mm gun. I did have to play it with this thing, and I've kept it because it's a magazine-fed 6-pounder anti-tank gun. That has 10 shells in a magazine, but as much fun as it was blazing away with this thing, yeah, not the best anti-tank gun here at Tier 7 where you can get into Tier 9 games, so I basically have to make my way up to here, and I'm not really enjoying it right now, but I'll have to get back to playing that at some point. But yes, anyway, I've dilly-dallied all over for too long. So you've got 1050 hit points, which is a large amount of hit points, and apparently this plays music if you click on it, but I don't know because my gain sounds are too low. It could have just been a YouTube comment troll, which it probably was, but music, yay. It's not doing anything when I click on it, at least not from what I can hear, but yeah. So yes, continuing on. It's 1050 hit points, basically. It's a large amount of hit points. That's what I'm basically trying to say here. It has a it doesn't have, it weighs 65.2 tons with my current loadout, which is a lot. And it only has a 650 horsepower engine, because Britain, here it is, Rolls-Royce Meteor Mark 4B. So it doesn't have a very powerful engine. It only has a 20 km/h top speed and a 24 hold reverse speed, and the power to weight ratio is 9.97 horsepower per ton. And to put that into perspective, that's the same as the Super Pershing, basically. Even though I don't actually have the Super Pershing, but it is notoriously bad at being a medium tank. But yeah, so the engine is definitely too weak. I mean, the 87 is also not a very good tank, and I have got the upgraded engine, and that only has a 20 kilometer an hour top speed with 22 hull traverse speed, and it has 11 specific horsepower per ton, which is still very, very bad. So it's not a very mobile tank destroyer. However, the armor does sort of make up for that. 228 at the front, 152 at the side, 101 at the rear, um, which is a very, very, very good amount of armor. That's like uber heavy tank armor. I mean, is that's like mouse worthy or E100 worthy? Um, don't think it's as good as this. Well, it will be better than this, apart from the turret of the FE 215B. But here we go, Deutschland. Let us look at what the Deutschlanders have. So we got Das Maus with 200 and 240, so it has almost, well, it has better armor than the Mouse's hull, at the front at least. As for the turret, slightly weaker, but E100, yeah, better hull armor than the E100. However, not as good turret armor. Jagdpanzer E100, 200 at the front, so it is better at the front, at least, than E100's Mouses and Jagdpanzers. However, the British tank destroyers do have the notorious weak spot on all tanks from Tier 5 up. All of these bricks that charge around being, assault guns all day, they all have the very, very obvious and well-known weakness, which is the machine guns at the top, which is the commander's cupola. 82 has got the cupola at the top there. 88 has obviously got that cupola, plus those little extra machine gun things there. 87 obviously has the machine gun up there. AT-15A has got the machine gun turret at the top, as does the AT-15, as does the Tortoise, and the Death Star is just the Death Star, so it obviously has that weakness that all rebels know. But yeah, they all have got these obvious, viewports and things at the top, such as this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and they're all pretty large, so you can't really miss them. And they don't have the 228, all round of the cupola. So yeah, the armor is good, and at range, yes, it will be impregnable. However, yeah, top turrets, everyone knows about them. So moving on from the armor to the gun, because tank's armor is only good enough if you can actually kill the things that are shooting at your armor and bouncing and failing to penetrate whilst you're laughing evilly. And as for the gun choice, you've got the Mark 7 17 pounder in here, which is the 76.2 caliber gun with 13.95 rounds per minute, 171 average penetration, which is shared by pretty much all of the 17 pounders apart from like the Mark II on the Firefly. 150 average damage because it's the DPM, not the damage, not the alpha damage that makes a 17 pounder stick out. Very, very good accuracy of 0.32, very good aiming time of 1.9 seconds. So it's a decent gun down at tier 6, 5, However, up here at tier 7, it does start to fall behind a little bit because it is, after all, only a 17 pounder. And although 171 average penetration is very good, the thing with tanks like the Black Prince, which also use a 17 pounder as their top gun, the penetration does start lagging behind. Which is also one of the problems that I have with the 87, because I'm sort of having to work with the 76.2 gun plus this gun when I eventually come to unlock it, which is almost the same as the AT-15A's gun, except it has a slightly better aiming time and better rate of fire. But yeah, before I can finally get to the QF 20 pounder AT gun type A barrel with the 226 millimeters of average penetration. I mean, if the gun carrier's 32 pounder had transferred onto the 87, I would be happy. But no, it hasn't, because gun carrier. But yeah, but this is about the AT-15A. I keep getting sidetracked by the 87, another British tank destroyer. But So the gun, yes, it's an alright gun. If you can penetrate, yes, you will be able to do some damage. But it does start to fall behind here on a tier 7 tank destroyer. 26 gun traverse speed, and the gun arc is actually pretty good on this tank. It's sort of that way and that way. It's a decent enough arc. It's very good. And I think of this as a mini tortoise because it basically is a mini tortoise. If we get to go to the tech tree here, bring up the tortoise. Here it is. Here's the little picture of the tortoise, and if we bring up the little picture of the AT-15A, bring it over here. Look at them. That's basically a upscaled version of that. I mean, this is basically a mini tortoise. And it even says in the description, assault tank conceived for breaking through enemy attacks and enemy fortifications. Design was ready on October 5th, 1943. No prototypes built, however, became the basis of the tortoise. So, yeah, it's basically mini tortoise. It's grandfather or father of the tortoise. So, tortoise. So that's why I like the AT-15A, because it's basically a mini tortoise, and I can be like, ooh, a mini tortoise, down at tier 7, 2 tiers below the tortoise. But 350 view range, moving on. 350 meters view range is alright. It's a tank destroyer, and tank destroyers did get a view range nerf, but it's the same as the Panther M10. MX Grand Finals. I need to update my XVM because it doesn't show the view range there, but for some reason, I don't know why it doesn't show it. Let me switch to the Panzer II quick. Panzer II, yeah, it doesn't show it. Because it should show the view range, and on the AMX 1357 it's like 500 meters literally when stationary. It's like 3 off that. But yeah, so it's pretty standard view range for tier 7 and also for tank destroyers. 570 signal range is not that good, but yeah, it's British. The British don't have the best radios down here in World of Tanks, so yeah. As for the consumables now, obviously your regular consumables, and with the equipment you have got a smattering amount of equipment that you can fit. Gun rammer, always useful. It doesn't show my actual gun reload speed, but these premium British vehicles were introduced before the 17-pounder was actually on regular tanks, so I think it reloads slower than the Fireflies and things, 17-pounder, but gun rammer is always useful. So equip a gun rammer. Camo net. I don't know. I sort of don't English right now, but you can sit and snipe, and you do have the accuracy and the penetration to actually penetrate those weak spots once you found them. But if you missed, you won't actually do anything much. But I suppose, yeah, sure, you can equip a camo net. I mean, this will work as a sniper, and the armor is going to help you certainly at longer range, but also at close range. So you can play it as either a tank. And it's either a traditional sit back and snipe tank destroyer or as an assault gun, which is how I like to play it, because the armor is just assault gun mode activate. But camo net, sure. Wet ammo rack if your ammo rack keeps getting knocked out, which may happen because if a light tank, medium tank, or even some of the faster heavy tanks can get around you, they will be able to, just circle strafe you. So maybe ammo rack, depends. Binos, once again, if you want to sit and snipe, which I suppose with this gun would be a viable option, so sure. Binos. Coated optics as well, always useful. So yeah, you could fit them. Enhanced springs. You really don't want to get detract, so sure. That 2 suspension durability is pretty much the only bonus that you'll really be using. I mean, damage during impact, you're not going to be sort of, doing any super sick, jumps or anything in this tank, so I suppose just the suspension load and the durability will really be the only things benefiting from this, but I suppose, sure, to stop yourself getting detract, then sure. Gun lane drive, you don't need it. 1.9 seconds is perfectly adequate, and it's actually very good. So you definitely, I wouldn't say definitely, but you can hold off getting that. If you keep getting set on fire, then sure, filled with CO2. Spore liner, will definitely be useful. I mean, that armor is very, very, very good, and armor protection from ramming and explosions by artillery. These things are like artillery magnets. The British tank destroyers from Tier 5 up are artillery magnets, so heavy spall loader definitely. Toolbox is always useful, and as is improved vents. It's a crew of 6, and it has 2 loaders, even though it's only a 17-pounder, but no. So, Sixth Sense is always useful, so I'm training my commander with Sixth Sense. Eagle Eye is also always useful, Jack of all trades possibly if you want. Recon, to increase your maximum view range, is always useful, so sure, go with that. Mentor, I don't particularly care about, but your common skills are also there in case you want to train them on them. My chaps aren't actually at 100% yet. They're 5% off, as you can see. 95. They have plus 10 from the commander because he's at 100%. Because I got him all the way up there. So, just so that when my crew are at 100%, they don't have to wait for the commander to get to 100% to actually be at 100%. But yeah, as for my loader here, I will definitely be going Deadeye first because I always love Deadeye. Designate target is always useful. Snapshot, you don't particularly have a turret, so probably hold off on that, and you're moving so slowly that it won't particularly matter. Armor, if your gun keeps getting damaged, sure, and then of course your common skills. The driver, I obviously got up to 100% first in order to start training on clutch braking in order to get that very bad traverse speed up. So yeah, definitely go with clutch braking first. After that, definitely go with off-road driving. Smooth ride, sure, that's also a viable skill because you're not going to be going very fast, 20 kilometers an hour. It's like the TOG. The TOG is perfect for shooting on the move. This thing, it's only slightly quicker, so smooth ride, sure. Preventive maintenance to further decrease the chance of your engine getting set on fire if you go with the tanks filled with CO2, sure. Controlled impact, you don't get enough speed up to ram, which is the major gripe with the British tank destroyer drivers, because they have all this armor, they can ram stuff, but they don't have the speed unless stupid people crash into you and ram you in, light tanks because they're like, oh, he's on 10%, he's on 10 health, I can ram and crash, oh, he's on 5% and I'm dead after my 100% health tank got killed. But yeah, so controlled impact, probably hold off on that. Radio operator. Radio range, definitely you'll want to go with that. So situational awareness and signal boosting you'll definitely want to get. Call for vengeance, possibly. Relay, also possibly if you get signal boosting first. Then of course your common skills. Now you do have 2 loaders, so you can sort of share the loader skills because none of them really share. So safe stowage in case your ammo keeps getting damaged. Adrenaline rush is also always useful. As for intuition, where is the gun? I never actually went over the APCR, which is 239, which is very decent penetration, and I haven't actually loaded any APCR because I don't feel the need to get it because I don't play it as a tank destroyer, I play it as an assault gun, so up close the penetration won't drop off as much, so 171 penetration will get me through tier 7 tanks. So I mean, that skill for the intuition will probably benefit you more if you're playing it as a sniping tank destroyer, if you want to load up APCR and load up more of them than if you were to go in assault gun mode. But I mean, intuition if you're a sniper, if you're an assault gun, probably hold off on that. Then of course your common skills, and that also applies to your secondary loader. So overall, it's a very, very good tank. I do like it. The only problem is that it's very, very slow and it has a very bad traverse speed. So any mediums, lights, faster heavies will be able to circle strafe you, which is the problem. So as soon as you see one, start backing up into a corner to stop them from circling you. And if you want to be a sniper, then with this gun, I mean, it's a decent gun for assault gunning, which is probably what you're meant to do in this tank, which is what I do. But if you want to be a sniper, then probably load up some APCR, because you may possibly need it. But yeah, it's a very, very heavily armoured but slow tank destroyer with a decent gun for lower tiers, but up here, possibly not as good. But then the slow speed and high armour is basically the British tank destroyers from Tier 5 up on the first tank destroyer line. Tier 4 and below of the British tank destroyers are fast speed, low armor. From Tier 5 up, high armor, low speed. I mean, they sort of switch. It's like the French. The French go from having heavily armored slow tanks to lightly armored fast tanks, such as, well, I can show you the thing with the French. Because the Hotchkiss, the FCM, the Somua, the AMX, the D2, the D1, the Renault R35, up to the B1, the SARL, the AMX40, they're all heavily armored tanks, but they're fairly slow. And then from Tier 5 up, complete opposite. I mean, ELC, very high speed, low armor. 12T, high speed, low armor. 1375, high speed, low armor. 1390, high speed, low armor. AMX30, Lorraine, Batchat, all of those high speed, low armor. I mean, the heavy tanks are slightly better, but once again, they're still not as heavily armored compared to other tanks at their tier than the low tiers. And with the British, of course, you've got Universal Carrier, high speed, low armor. Valentine, again, speed, low armor. Electo, speed, low armor. Complete opposite with the AT-2, high speed, low armor. Low speed, high armor. I mean, that is the British thing with their tank destroyers there. With the second line, however, it's pretty much completely high speed, low armor. I mean, you've got Death Star 2, Conway, Charioteer, Challenger, Achilles, Archer, Valentine, Cruiser, Cruiser 1. They're not heavily armored, but they're pretty fast. So, yeah, I would probably use this thing in assault gun mode, because that's what I do, and I've been rambling on about stuff that isn't the AT-15A for most of this video, so I'll just end it off now before I start talking about something else. But I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.